what are some of the common weaknesses or the common things that a business owner faces, right? You mentioned isolation, and I think community obviously is huge, which you've created that. But is there any other things that you can talk about? Like what are
Yeah,
we faced with?
I can tell you the major thing is they don't feel,
Hmm.
bottom line. So if you're dealing with men in general, and again, if you kind of look at the root word of feel, it means to touch. And I would define feeling as allowing yourself to be touched and changed by the circumstances in your lives. That's what feeling is, bottom line. Well, if you have a lot of men that have been taught to suppress emotion and feeling, what that means is as circumstances and tragedy and crisis and whatever is coming down their lives, they're doing everything to keep that at bay and not to actually feel or be touched by that. The problem is you get a stoic man at the end. And I love what Kevin Wheeler, Kevin, he's been a mentor to us and a part of Multipliers brother. He's like, it's like holding a beach ball underwater. I mean, you can do it for a while, but at some point it's going to pop up. And so, what we really try to focus on with men is to get them to begin to understand the value of what it means to feel. And if you don't think that's important, go around and talk to the spouse and the kids of an entrepreneur that is just feeling like lacks any feelings whatsoever.
Yeah.
Like I'm telling you that those kids don't feel love. That wife doesn't feel love. And so there's a major cost that's happening with men. I mean, even as a leader, if you're an emotionless leader that is so task oriented, so business oriented that you really show no sense of personal vulnerability, or you don't have the ability to be empathetic and emotionally connect with the people that you lead, I'm sorry, you're not going to lead for long. I mean, you might lead for long, but you're just going to have massive turnover. You'll never build a long-standing team. So I would tell you one of the main things and one of the biggest challenges we see is we try to really get men to value emotion and to embrace how important it is to feel, because we've been raised to really not trust feelings and to think that there's really any value in them.
Yeah.
It's like we do everything we can to bypass, suppress emotion because we think it's just something that's going to get in our way. Like, I don't have time for that. I don't have
Yeah.
time to feel for that. And
Right.
you just keep hard charging forward. And man, that's going to come at a major cost for you at some
Yeah.
point.
Yeah, it's funny how men, we're always just trying to hold back, right? Like the older I get, and I got kids now, and I start to feel a lot more. Even watching a movie, sometimes I'm always trying to hold back my emotions, or if I'm talking to my wife and we're having a really intimate, serious conversation, and I'm always trying to like hold myself back. Don't feel like don't let it out, right? And it's funny because it seems like we're all trying to numb ourself. And if we start to go a little bit further down this emotion, this feeling, we try to do something to numb it, right? And that's where the medication comes in. That maybe the alcohol, the drugs, workaholicism, or whatever. We've all struggled with that. We're just trying to numb and get control. Would you agree with that, Chris?
Absolutely. A
Yeah.
100%. And that's why you see a lot of the common behaviors that are coming out. And here's the reality, you know, facing shame, particularly again, a lot of this times we make mistakes as men. Men tend to have some dark secrets. I think we've all done some things that we're, not proud of. And so, having to actually face that shame is a very difficult journey. Like, that is painful. But a leader that's not willing to really look deeply at his stuff is just not going to last for long. And I don't think that men will face shame on their own. Only when they find themselves in a community and they begin to realize that, oh, like, I'm not the only one that struggles with this. You mean like everyone else here for the most part is pretty effed up?
Yeah.
When there comes that commonality of understanding, like, it's not just me. And I mean, this is true with anything that struggles in the world, whether it's people that have particular health issues or different things that are wrong. There's always that sense of isolation, like, I'm the only one in the world struggling with this. But what we find time and again is when you put people together that have a common struggle, and all of a sudden you remove this idea that I'm the only one, there's something wrong with me, nobody else deals with this, there becomes a lot of power in that healing, because it's like, it's okay that I talk about these things, because it's not just me, it's all these other guys that feel the same way. And that's when the floodgates open. And you've been to our events. I mean, it happens the same way every year. There's always two things that I observe. Number one, all it does is it takes for the first guy to go first and go open kimono. Mm-hmm. The first guy that's willing to drop in his heart, drop that bomb of whatever, he's going through, whether it be a divorce or something that's happened. I mean, you see what happens in the men that are around that, because that is a level of courage that is far greater than the courage that it takes to do a big business deal or to buy a company. Like, we stand in awe of people that are willing to be public vulnerably. Yeah. And all of a sudden from there, that person leads the group. They've set the tone. And I'm telling you, you sit back and then the next guy grabs the mic and then boom, he's in tears. And then the next, and it just all starts coming out. And I have been really fascinated by a concept we have in Multipliers every year. We do what's called a MVP award, right? Your most valuable player. Mm-hmm. And it's voted on not by us as staff, but it's actually voted on by everyone that's at the event in the community. So literally, we just pass out a piece of paper, we put a bowl up front, and we just simply say, we put no standard on it. We just say, whoever you think was the most valuable player this year, write their name. We don't say how that person was valuable. We don't pigeonhole it. All we say is who's most valuable. Every single year, the person that wins was the person that went first and had, really honestly, the balls to be the most courageous, to go first and to talk about something extremely difficult every year. Yeah. So that allows you to understand by nature what entrepreneurs really value. I've never seen someone win that award because they came in and had the greatest business idea, or, they came in and crushed it because they're the highest performer in that group and they're doing 2 times the amount. That person never wins. Mm-hmm. The person that always wins was the guy that had the courage to be vulnerable. Because here's what we understand about courage. And Brené Brown really says this. We love the vulnerability that we see in others when they take the time to do it. The problem is we hate the vulnerability when we see in ourselves. And it's a really difficult dichotomy that you have to wrestle with, of why am I so encouraged and inspired by someone that shared vulnerability, but when it comes to me and I share, I get this feeling of shame and it's not the same. And you really have to bypass that misconception about how you feel about expressing your own vulnerability. That's what keeps people from moving forward with it.
Thank you so much for checking out the Brett Snodgrass channel. If you like this video, please slam on that like button. And if you really like it, then subscribe to our channel here. And remember to leave us a comment below, and I'm going to try my hardest to reply to all the comments. Thank you guys so much. This is why I do what I do. Every single week, I come out with content that focuses on success, freedom, and living out your purpose. Thank you guys so much. See you next time.